Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we would like to present our material. It's about the differences between ESL and EFL from four perspective. But before that, we would like to introduce ourselves. My name is Komang Ayu Karisma Dayani, and my friend.
I'm Pande.
So, the first material will be presented by my friend Pande. Time is yours.
The differences between ESL and EFL from four perspectives. ESL, or English as a second language, and EFL, or English as a foreign language, are different. It can be seen from the place in which the language is learned, and also from the social and communicative function of the language. Simply, English as a foreign language means that learning English in a non-English speaking countries. For example, Indonesian learner who learn English in Indonesia. As we know that Indonesia is a non-English speaking country. And then for ESL means English as a second language has the same or even more important status as a mother tongue. For example, an Indian learner who learn English in their countries. As we know, India use English as their main language for daily communication. And then in ESL, English is learned in the country where English is used as the main language, while in English as a foreign language, usually the learner learn English for tourism, communicating with native speaker, and for reading a foreign journal. Commonly, the people who learn foreign language already learn their first language or their mother tongue. For example, I learned English as a foreign language. So before I learn English, I already introduced with my mother tongue or my first language. Since my parents and the people around me or the society use Balinese language, since I was born, I use Balinese language to communicate with others. And then when I continued to study in a formal school, in the kindergarten, I start to learn Bahasa Indonesia because the teacher used Bahasa Indonesia to teach their student. As we know, in Indonesia, Bahasa Indonesia is the main language of the country. It means that Bahasa Indonesia is the second language in the country. And then we use Indonesia has a social and communicative function. While in the English as a foreign language, the language doesn't have a social and communicative function in the country. And then simply, EFL learner refers to those who learn English in a non-English speaking countries or where English is not the main language for communication. For example, Thailand, China, Japan, and South Korea. However, ESL, or English as a second language, refers to those who learn English in a country where English is used as the main language or formally spoken, such as in India, Singapore, and America. Besides that, the learner of English as a second language can be divided into two. The first one is the immigrant people, or for example, I continue my study to America. And then the second one is in the countries where once has colonized by native English country. So both of them learn English in order to survive, because English is determined whether they can survive or not. And then the differences between ESL and EFL can also be seen from four perspectives, namely a place to learn, the teacher, the exposure, and also the opportunity to use the language. First is about a place to learn. In the context of English as a second language, learner can practice their English or the language that they learn by communicating with others, both inside and outside the classroom. While in the English as a foreign language context, the language exposure is limited only in the classroom. Therefore, the students has a difficulty when they want to practice their English by communicating outside the classroom. For example, in India, English is used as the main language of the country, and English is a tool for daily communication and formally spoken. Therefore, the learner can also not only learn English in the classroom, but they can also learn English outside the classroom from the society, because people use English for communication. However, in Indonesia, English is used as a foreign language. People only learn and taught English as a foreign language. It means that the process of learning English occur mostly in the classroom or formal education rather than for daily communication. It is because in Indonesia, English is not the main language of the country. It's not used for daily communication. And then second is about the teacher. In the process of learning English, teacher take an important role as the main source and also the facilitator of the knowledge and the skills of the language that learn. In the context of ESL, the teacher, or commonly the dominant teacher who teaches English, is a native English speaker. They teach English in a country that use English as a main language, or the second language of the country. While for EFL teacher, commonly the dominant teacher who teach English is a non-native English speaker or the local people. They teach English in a country that doesn't use English as a main language, or the people in this country doesn't use English for their daily communication. Beside that, from the style of teacher, based on the video that I already sent you, we can see that the teacher in the ESL class, students are the core of the class activities. I mean, the class is using student center. However, in the EFL, commonly the focus of the class is the teacher, or teacher usually give a lecture to the students. Therefore, students uh, will be turned into a passive student, while in ESL, the student can improve their English skill effectively. That is all about my material. Next, we'll continue by my friend.
Thank you, Pande, for the time. Now I will continue the material. The next is about exposure. Um, According to Seligson on 1997, as cited in C on uh, 2017 and 2019, state that ESL learners use English to communicate naturally. Meanwhile, EFL learners have difficulties to use English in their society. It it's mean that ESL has a bigger exposure rather than EFL learners. It's supported by Wu Lihong on 1990 on 1995 as cited in C on 2019, state that at EFL learners uh, they lack a relative environment. Language learning is complex process. It influenced by some factor, and one of the factor is their environment. ESL learners ESL learners can access English in their daily life with their friends and their family in a formal or non-formal situation. Their environment supports them to learn. They can practice what they have learned in the classroom, and after that, they practice it to their society. They use English in daily life. Therefore, ESL students are easier to increase their English ability, such as in reading, speaking, writing, and also listening. Meanwhile, EFL learners, EFL students need high motivation to speak English because they use English only in school or in courses. They cannot use English to interact or communicate with other people. EFL students have limited exposure because it's impossible for them to practice English directly. They only get English inside of the classroom. Outside of the classroom, uh, they will use their local language to communicate with other peoples. And they get a few opportunities to use English. Okay, next Monday. Okay, and the last perspective is about opportunity to use English. Um, ESL learners have bigger opportunity to use English. Why? Because ESL learners can learn English in their daily life, such as they can learn English every day, every time, and everywhere. For an example about ESL situation is a Vietnamese student who immigrates with his family to America. He speak he speaks Vietnamese at home and with his parents, but during the day at school, and he must speak he must speak English. For ELT learners, they only learn English inside a classroom, but continue to speak her own language when he leaves the classroom. When he leave the classroom, when they go outside, they will not find people speaking English because their environment using local language. For example, an Indonesian girl who uh, who school who is school in an Indonesian girl school in Indonesian an Indonesian girl learning English in Indonesian school. Uh, she must understand and speak only during uh, her English lesson, perhaps 3 weeks, perhaps 3 times in a week. The rest of her day in school at home, he will speak her own language. This result is most EFL students not having the opportunities to speak English, even though uh, there are in school already conducted the even though English speaking courses have been conducted in the school curriculum. Some of EFL students are afraid to speak English in a public. For the two examples above, it can be concluded that ESL learners has a bigger opportunities to speak to use English rather than EFL students. So that's all about our presentation. Thank you.
These are the link of the video that I already sent. And then here is the resources of our material. Okay, that is all about our presentation. If you have any question, you can ask in the Google class. Thank you.